All right.
Welcome, vacationers, anime protagonist spa staff, MOG hostesses that use leet speak in their names, and Mirror dregs. This is episode 336 of an Unearthly Podcast, streaming live on the 15th of January 2020, and featuring Orphan 55, written by Ed Heim, and starring Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, Bradley Walsh as Graham O'Brien, Tosin Cole as Ryan Sinclair, and Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan. I am Bill Sylvia, the Man in Black, and with me are Randy Ronson McCulloch.
Is it bad every time I see that name, I want to pronounce it Ed Hime, which would technically be Princess Ed?
I almost did. Matt Winchell.
Death Claws tastes like chicken.
And the spirit of makes it sound like he's dead, but Tim the Enchanter Sheridan is here in spirit, and Thomas Fireheart may or may not resolve his technical problems to be with us for the review of the episode.
And I thought Death Claws were originally chicken, Matt.
Hard to tell.
Thomas is having a bad time, and it's not because he's fighting a skeleton.
Oh, we've lost him again, huh? We lost him during the opening.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's apparently his headset just keeps dying on him.
Yeah.
And he said he got that new now?
Yeah, he just got that a little while ago.
Yeah, he was telling us last week it was new, I think. Or the mic was new. That maybe it was just the mic.
Hey. Apparently it might be too new. I have seen your inferior computer and I hate it.
Excuse me, I've had a long day already.
I tried to have a nap and I was very angry during my nap. We'll discuss that later.
I had a nap and I wound up reading fan fiction instead because I couldn't sleep. I think I'm still purging caffeine from my system. I've had way too much of it lately. Mind you, I haven't had any since Monday, but, I had way too many iced teas Sunday and then decided to have another one on Monday.
And whose fault was that?
What?
Whose fault was that? I'm staring daggers at you now.
Why? Because I had iced tea?
After iced tea, after iced tea, after iced tea, and more caffeine.
It was only 3 iced teas. It's we were out to dinner at Longhorn Steakhouse. Come on, somebody bitch at me about eating at a chain. I dare you. Fact is, Longhorn Steakhouse rocks. They know exactly how to season my steak.
I think I've been to a Longhorn once or twice. Honestly, I prefer them over Outback.
Oh, frack no. I don't know if it's just, I used to like the ones at Outback. And I don't know if it's just the chef we have here at the Outback or what, but I've eaten at Outback and gone, I could make a better steak than this.
Yeah, and I preferred them over Outback.
Oh, you prefer them over Outback, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You heard me backwards somehow.
I did hear you backwards. Yeah.
You backed him herdwards.
Mm-hmm. I prefer them over that. I prefer them over Texas Roadhouse, but not by much. Texas Roadhouse comes close, but the seasoning at Longhorn is better. And honestly, push comes to shove.
Any of those over Red Robin. Red Robin gives me lots of bad things.
I didn't even know they had steak at Red Robin.
I was talking food in general, but yeah.
No, I'm talking pure steak. I'm talking meat on the bone. Because I only get it, usually like once a year, and I used to be a huge steak guy. I mean, steak. Love steak. Steak and potatoes, yeah, steak. And I used to cook my own steak all the time. I had it down to an art form. But because of health conditions, I don't do that anymore because steak has a lot of salt in it.
Mm.
And so does my steak rubs and everything else I put on steak.
Yeah.
But we were out at Longhorn. I had the porterhouse. Oh God, the king of steak. There is no higher steak than the porterhouse. You take a T-bone, add a fillet, put them together. That's a porterhouse. And I had mashed potatoes and that, and we had mushrooms and onions with the steak. And
So rather than making everybody hungry,
I am going to make you hungry.
talk about tonight's show.
Well, no, I'm kind of waiting to see if we get Thomas back. And if we don't by a couple of minutes, then I was going to move on.
Well, to help people not be hungry, I was sick this weekend.
Oh, yes, that'll ruin people's appetites. Do indulge us, Matt.
Well, it came out both ends.
So you probably had what, stomach flu?
We think it was a flu. We think it was possibly a flu because my father's gotten it and now my mother has it.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely something contagious. So it's probably a stomach flu.
I'll never forget that line from Scrubs. It's just not E. coli if it's not coming out of both ends.
No, I had a similar flu, I think 2-3 years ago. I hate when I get sick, when I get a stomach bug like that.
Yeah, that was pretty nasty. It just kind of, all of a sudden, just like halfway through Thursday last week, I just started feeling, I feel kind of funky. I don't know if I'm going to be doing stuff later this evening. And got later into the evening, I'm like, I definitely don't feel like I'm up for streaming tonight. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if Critical Role's doing anything tonight, so I'm not even going to bother looking for it. And next thing I know, I'm making runs to the bathroom.
Yeah, well, mind you, usually my internal resistance factors are pretty high. So when it has to get me, it has to be something freaking strong. So every time I've gotten stomach flu, it has been the nastiest stuff, and I have been feverish, delusional, and so weak afterwards that I'm usually dehydrated so badly.
Oh yeah, I was running the risk of getting dehydrated. Thankfully, I was getting enough fluids. Funny enough, Baja Blast works for you the same as Sprite.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that. I'm like, I just need any fluids right now, and my family happened to stop for Taco Bell that night before coming home.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a Baja Blast waiting for me, but there was a burrito I wasn't going to touch.
Yeah, and you usually actually want warm soda rather than cold, because cold.
I was sipping on that thing until the next day, so it was warm
No,
enough.
the reason they say the warm soda over cold is the cold has a tendency, a chilled drink has a tendency to upset your stomach even worse. Because of the temperature difference.
Well, for whatever reason, the Baja Blast just really worked for me. So
just like you're not supposed to drink ice cold water when you're hot, when you're like facing heat stroke or heat exhaustion.
Yeah, my family used to swear by warm Coke. I know. But every single time we had something that was making us oopsie, we always broke out the warm Coke.
Well, I'm not even one that likes Sprite, and Sprite's always been a go, or Sprite or 7-Up has always been a go-to, and I don't care.
Warm
that
7-Up
wildly
was
for
the
either
second one. Yeah. Are you back, Thomas?
Silence.
Signs point to no.
Try again later.
Paper not bound to feed. Oh.
Hopefully that sorted it.
Oh.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. We finally have a Thomas back, so we can finally stop meandering.
The stalling was not in vain.
The stalling was not in vain. All right. So on tonight's show, we have news and birthdays. We have a bit of geek talk. Bill has a review of Shame, and it's a serious shame.
It's a deep back shame.
Bill reviews something that he's been sitting on for nearly 4 years. And when we realized that it was way the hell back in 2016, we are and in the middle of a in the middle of a conjoined season on a Tom Baker episode. Oh yeah, we're gonna be seriously shaming Bill for this. And then we've got our review, the summary, our review, final thoughts, and ratings. So let's get into birthdays, shall we? The first birthday is on the 13th of January, which was last Monday, and is the birthday of our own Randy Ronson McCulloch. Yes, me, I turned 44.
Yes, happy birthday.
Which I celebrated at game with my friends, eating Arby's and basically having a good time.
Yeah.
Our birthday, the next birthday we have as the 14th, and that's the birthday of Gemma Redgrave, who played Kate Stewart, mostly during the Matt Smith era and a little bit in the Capaldi era. Turned 55.
And then was unemployed by Chris Chibnall
Yes.
due to government cuts.
Shame.
And then the 15th of January, tonight, was the birthday of Richard Franklin, i.e. Mike Yates from 1971 to 1974, and he turns 84 today. So happy birthday, me, Gemma, and Richard. And so, and by the way, Matt showed that picture of me, I'm fairly certain.
Mm-hmm.
The depressing portion of that picture is the cat in the picture's dead, the laptop in the picture's dead, the lamp behind me's dead, I can't drink Mountain Dew anymore, the coffee table the laptop was on is dead, the couch I'm sitting on is half dead. Yeah, that is not a recent picture, folks.
It's the most recent one you had available.
Yeah, that's because I usually don't put my picture on the internet. Every now and then my girlfriend takes a picture and puts it up, and I'm like, no!
Actually, I should have checked her for her Facebook. She might have had more of you.
Nope, don't. We're done.
I'll look for
Okay.
it next year.
So from birthdays, we go to lost stories.
Yes. An Unearthly Podcast is saddened to announce the death of John Griffiths, one of the team that created the original title credits back in 1963. He was given footage of a camera looking at its own viewfinder and told to splice it into a title sequence. The result became the opening theme for the Hartnell era and set the style and trend still used by the opening theme today. Griffiths also worked as a film editor on 1964's The Dalek Invasion of Earth and a production editor on 1971's The Mind of Evil before retiring to Worthing. Griffiths died last Thursday. He was 89.
Looks like I got a paste from the lower article in there. Yeah.
I was wondering how that was going to be read out loud.
He was an extra in Mind of Evil, mind you.
Huh.
So you actually get to see him in there, but I think he's probably either a random prison guard or a random soldier. So that's kind of cool. I can't find much on this guy other than this stuff. I mean, I can't find what other bodies of work he worked with or any of that. He's just known as the guy that helped create the original title sequence for Doctor Who.
And did a few other little visual things.
He just went into limbo between 1964 and 1971.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had to be doing something. And I know he didn't retire right after Mind of Evil. I think he retired probably sometime in the 80s or 90s. But I can't find anything what he worked on after that. Sometimes some of these people just don't have themselves accredited well, you know?
Mm-hmm. If I had to guess, it would have something to do with Z Cars or the Avengers.
No.
Possibly.
Or Coronation Street or Emmerdale or EastEnders.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking 60s things.
But yeah, but
Yeah.
anything. But I was thinking anything between 71 and
Oh, gotcha.
90 something.
Yeah, we were thinking different parts of his career.
Yep.
All right, moving on to
Episode news.
current episode news. Yep, overnight figures for Orphan 55 are in. It was watched by a total of 4.19 million viewers on night of broadcast, a drop of about 0.4 million from the previous week. This equates to 20.9% of the total viewing audience for Sunday night, and made it the 5th most popular show on British TV that night. Doctor Who was beaten by its direct ITV opposition, Dancing on Ice, which had 4.51 million viewers.
So
Sounds
really
like
not by
that's
that
going
much.
to be a trend for this season.
Yeah, but still, that's
number-
only 0.4 of a million.
Right.
So,
The number one show that day was Call the Midwife with 6.24 million viewers. So again, not a huge difference. It's not like Doctor Who had less than 3 million. Country File, the lead into Doctor Who, had 5.13 million. And the drama The Trial of Christine Keeler had 3.67 million watching.
so again, about 1 million people stopped watching between Country File and Doctor Who.
To watch Dancing on Ice, apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Which it's England, that makes about as much sense as anything.
Continuing with ratings news, the final ratings from the Broadcasting Research Audience Board, BARB, are in for both parts of Spyfall. Spyfall Part 1 had an official rating of 6.89 million viewers, 6.7 watched the episode on a TV set, 101,000 on PC, 49,000 on tablet, and 27,000 on smartphone. And again, this is still specifically referring to BBC apps within the UK, not elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Spyfall Part 2 had an official rating of 6.07 million viewers, 5.91 million watching on TV, 85,000 on on PC, 46,000 on tablet, and 34,000 on smartphone. These numbers are below Series 11 starting total, but above Series 10's.
So there we go. That's still almost a million drop.
Yeah, that's still 1 million drop from the end of last season. The end of Spyfall 2.
Well,
I think by the end of Series 11, it had dropped to like, even with consolidated views, it was like 5 million. So this is still above that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
far
the
as
consolidated
total.
was 7 point something million.
I could be wrong.
Let's see. Doctor Who Series 11.
How much was what was it called? The New Year's special.
The New Year special had 7.13.
Yeah.
The bottom half of the viewers for Series 11 was the finale, or actually it was It Takes You Away just before that, had 6.42 million.
It's not really fair to compare resolution to anything else either, because I think Dalek episodes always have higher ratings.
Yeah. They would, as long as people know that Daleks are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just looking at what the lowest rated episode.
Yeah.
Or the lowest one was there, and that was It Takes You Away with 6.42 million. So this one wound up with 6.07. So this is a new low for the Chibnall era.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Spyfall Part 2 is a new low.
Yeah. Thankfully, still not as low as Series 10 yet, but
no.
Yeah, that is correct. The bottom part of Series 10, the lowest episode was 4.82, which was The Lie of the Land. The end part of the 3-part in the middle of Series 10.
Oh, the really bad middle 3. Yeah. Okay.
Or actually, no, it was The Eaters of Light, 4.73 million. I'm sorry, I missed that one. So we're not hitting that levels of low yet.
We're not hitting that low yet, but it's trying to seemingly swing there. We'll
Mm.
see if it tries to pick up
I mean,
or not.
you know, I would expect that even if there's a dip, we still have to get to the Cybermen and possibly the Daleks again. So those might go up for those. at
Yeah.
least.
Mm-hmm.
So it may
Mhm.
dip until then.
Mm.
We'll have to see how it goes.
Mhm. I say it may dip just based on some opinions we've been discussing, but that we won't actually discuss until later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay, so let's leave Spyfall behind, shall we?
Yep. And we move ahead to future episode news where we've got some photos from Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror.
I'm not sure how much to say about that. This looks like Ryan dressed in period clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I need to really remind myself to watch the next episode trailer before we start the podcast each week.
Well, the funny thing is if you watch to the end of the credits of the things I put in the drive, it has it at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, it wasn't a very long trailer.
Mm. Yeah, they always have that kind of next time on Doctor Who thing at the end.
Yeah, but it was
Mhm.
really short. Yeah.
mhm.
Mm.
They usually are.
So the second picture looks like the doctor reading some kind of like encephalograph reading or something.
Yeah,
Some sort of graph
or like
reading, yeah.
some sort of like spectrometer.
Something like that. You can see the spikes and stuff on the paper on one side.
Mm-hmm.
And
Third
there's-
picture
I'm
looks
assuming
like
that's
Edison.
holding up the news.
Yep.
I invented the newspaper.
And there's the doctor completely standing out in the middle of
Everyone else is
Turn
in
it.
period clothing, and she's just like, "Yeah, rainbows, purple. Why not?"
Oh yeah, the background of her shirt has changed again.
Yeah,
Mm.
they're doing that.
They're doing
she
that
washes.
now,
She
apparently.
washes her laundry. But it's still it's a cross between J&T era uniforms and pre and post with the changing of the outfit. It's still kind of a uniform, but there's alterations.
Mm.
So it's like David Tennant deciding to wear the blue
Mhm.
suit instead of the striped suit. And
But there's no question
Mm.
marks on her outfit
Don't make me hurt you, Bill.
that we can see.
no, if there were question marks imposed, it would have had to have been one color uniform constantly. So the next picture we have, apparently, according to the listing, it's Dorothy Scarrett, who is apparently going to be a guest for this.
And it looks like she was also the woman standing behind the doctor with that spectrometer or
With those
whatever
readings,
reading.
yeah.
And you can
Mm.
also see her behind, I think that might be her behind Edison in the third picture, too.
It looks like it, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, she's
then
in the
you
next
can see
picture of
them-
a group.
Mm-hmm. Her, I think that's probably Tesla, yep.
That's got to be Tesla, yeah.
And then Scarrett, and then the TARDIS crew. And like we said, everybody in period clothing except the doctor.
Mhm.
She didn't even try a period shirt. At least the period shirt would help
And the
her
thing
blend in a
is,
little.
Eccleston could get away with it because
that
that
was a
kind of
suit.
no, Eccleston, the
Oh.
the black coat was,
Leather jacket.
It's a leather coat. Yeah, you can still get away with that.
and yeah, Tennant could get away with it because it was a suit. Smith wore quasi period,
Mm.
Mhm.
and so did Capaldi.
Depends
Mhm.
on which season Capaldi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there
'cause
was
there's
at
a
least
couple
one
times where
season where he
in a
was just
suit.
wearing a hoodie in the past.
Yeah, that was his don't give a fuck period.
Maybe she
Yeah.
has a low grade perception filter on so that
I don't know.
she doesn't have to change her clothes.
Don't give them excuses.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Eccleston kept getting flack for his black jacket too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
especially-
He was more time period than she is right now.
especially when he
Mm.
was actually in World War II.
Mm-hmm. And then here's another picture of Edison.
I'm trying to figure out what that protest sign says.
Which one?
No, in the picture we were just looking at with the doctor standing out in
There's
non-period.
not enough there to read it.
Yeah.
You're trying to
I'm
grab
figure
the
out what
things that's not
CURR
eligible at that
something
angle.
is. Hmm.
I couldn't tell if it was currency or current or yeah. There's not enough.
Mhm.
No, there's not enough data.
Right.
hmm And then and once again, the next picture after that is Edison in his "I am Jesus" pose. And
Dr.
there's the
Solo
doctor.
picture.
There's the doctor apparently holding the end of a freaking Ghostbuster rifle. As
I was
far
about
as I
to
can
say,
tell.
I think she's about to join Luigi in capturing ghosts in his mansion.
That was the original cell phone, right?
hmm And next one's Ryan. Looks like in the TARDIS by the lighting.
Oh,
Mhm.
see, I was like, it looks like he's setting up the bat signal, but
No, that's the TARDIS, unfortunately. Yeah.
yeah.
And the
And
group in
then
a train? In a
train or a carriage or something.
Mm.
There's
something,
Tesla.
yeah.
The doctor is surprised by something.
Oh, the Hooded Mez has the Ghostbuster machine.
Ah, that must be
In
what
the
the
next
doctor's
picture.
surprised by.
Yep.
So a
Ghostbusters
Dementor
technology definitely doesn't belong here.
Yes. Especially being held by a Dementor, yeah. Yeah, and that's all the pictures we got, but and I think we made fun of almost each and every one of them.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for the episode news. Moving on to the media news, the BBC has announced the next season of Classic Who to hit Blu-ray. Season 14, Tom Baker's third season, the season which sees Sarah Jane leave and introduces Leela. Bonus features include immersive 5.1 surround sound for The Deadly Assassin. Brand new audio commentaries, Tom Baker and Matthew Sweet on selected episodes of The Face of Evil and The Talons of Wang Chiang. Behind the Sofa, new episodes with Tom Baker, Louise Jameson, Philip Hinchcliffe, plus companions Sophie Aldred and Peter Purves. Our Sarah Jane, the Elizabeth Sladen tribute. A feature-length look at the life and career of Sarah Jane Smith, played by Elizabeth Sladen. Who's Doctor Who Revisited? Toby Hadoke meets the producers and grown-up stars of the very first Who documentary. In conversation, Matthew Sweet chats to producer Philip Hinchcliffe. The Blu-ray trailer. Louise Jameson has trouble with her new home assistant. I have watched it. It is mildly amusing.
It's
That
one of
as in
the
an
robots
Alexa
of
or a
death.
Google Home?
Hmm?
Ah.
It's one of the robots of death.
Yes, it's one of the
Yeah.
robots of death.
Oh, okay. So it's an actual.
She talks about it
Yeah.
like it's freaking Siri or Alexa or something.
Got you.
It's about to be
Okay.
a Vox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a
And-
sketch.
Yeah, it's a sketch.
Yeah.
She's talking to Tom on the phone.
Hmm.
And she pretty much, the Thing decides to try to kill her, and she pretty much picks up the season 14 Blu-ray set and just whacks it across the
Is
face.
she
with-
talking to Tom or is she talking to John Colshaw?
No, she's talking to Tom because she says him by name. And then
But would she know?
I'm pretty sure she would know. The trailer then goes on to be narrated by Tom.
Yeah.
About all the bonus features and everything in there. And then he goes on to say, home assistant not included. Also included is brand new interviews, rare archive material, convention footage, HD photo galleries, scripts, costume designs, rare BBC production files, and other gems from their PDF archive, and many other bonus features from the original DVD releases. The 8-disc Season 14 Blu-ray set is due for release on Monday, 20 April.
I just showed the clip muted of her smacking the robot with the box set.
Yeah, she's then like, yep, still got it.
She's got a mean right hook.
I still find it weird that there's no order to these. Like we've got
No, they're
let's see,
kind of
we've
all
got
over the
Tom-
place, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
it's-
It's
we've
good.
got
It's still
Tom
nice
Ba-
collections.
yeah, like we've got Tom Baker's first and last. We've got Davison's first. We've got Trial of a Time Lord. Season 20, like the final season of Old Who is coming out in the next.
Oh, you're
couple
saying for the
months.
Blu-ray releases
Yeah,
in
yeah.
general?
And we have and
There
season
is an
10.
order. It's money, money, money.
Yep. Which seasons have some
Uh,
popular episodes? Let's
Hmm.
collect those and pimp them out. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's collect those, ship them out, and we'll make our money before they become decreased in price in about a year or two, and people then can actually pick them
Well,
up for reasonable prices.
Well, you say that, but if you don't get it when it comes out, you are fucked because I can't find. I lucked out on getting season 19 the other day, because I can't find that anywhere anymore.
Well,
I
that might
can't
be
find.
also how much they're releasing over there, though, too.
You
Mm.
also are in Australia where importing is a little challenging from time to time.
Well, even in the UK, like there are places where they are basically only have the most recent 2 now. And they sell out very quick. So basically, to me, it seems like the BBC is pulling a Nintendo with Amiibo. They're just like, we'll put out a limited amount, and scabs will get a bunch of them and hawk them for God knows how much on eBay. Because there are some going for like a couple hundred on eBay, and I'm like, screw that.
Yeah, and what we get over here is a complete different set.
Mm.
I mean, we don't get the steel case releases. We get
the DVD, we get Blu-rays essentially in the basic plastic cases, and
no. Well, yeah, we've got basic plastic cases. We've got like Pertwee.
oh, we
season
also forgot to
4.
mention the season 4 Pertwee. That's
Yeah, we
part
got
of the listing.
Pertwee.
So, by the way, all of them are available in America in Amazon.
Yep.
In fact, they're all ranging between $20 and $30 right now.
Except for Colin Baker season 2, which is apparently $41. And
oh yeah, except for Colin Baker. And actually,
he sucks.
Tom Pertwee is varying between 40 and 30. But all the Tom Baker stuff is like $20 right now. That's
24,
interesting.
32.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sylvester McCoy, complete season 3, $87.50.
Yeesh. Well, that's not that's not a new one though. That's an old one, isn't it?
This is the first.
Actually, that will be released on March 24th.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's an upcoming one. That they'll release
yeah.
for that price. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first McCoy one they're releasing.
So yeah, this is listing for the UK releases because that's what we have. America doesn't really press announce their releases. Unfortunately, they just kind of come out.
Just come out. You kind of go and find them wherever you can find them.
Yeah, the same happens in Australia too. There were some that I didn't realize they were out until I couldn't find them.
Collecting all of Tom Baker on Blu-ray. I twist my beard.
They're not available on Amazon Australia.
As far as I know, no. I've checked varying places, and the only ones I can find are on eBay. But thankfully, the only one I'm missing now is season 12. So Tom Baker's first season.
Yeah, I can pick that up right now for $25 American.
Yep.
Well, I do have a multi-region DVD player, so I could probably Blu-ray.
So you might want to think about that, yeah.
So I probably could, yeah.
Yeah, and if I had money, you realize I'd just be going season.
Right. Too bad I'm not made of that much money. It's tempting though.
If I was still doing viewings for the con, it'd be season.
Oh yeah,
I would generally. Yeah, my general hope is that after a while, they release a new batch of them, just for people who missed them the first time.
Well, I'm sure they will eventually. I assume since they're also basically selling out where you are, they'll be like, okay, yeah, we need to reprint some of these because they are like hotcakes.
60th anniversary.
Let's go print some more money, kids.
Oh my God! Could you imagine collecting all 26 seasons in a box set?
Jesus.
And how much it would cost?
Yeah, especially I'm
sorry. I think that I don't think you can fit that in a box set season.
You see,
you're gonna have to split it in half at least.
It comes in a cabinet with doors closing that's shaped like the TARDIS, and it's just filled with box sets.
It's like a half. It's like a half-sized TARDIS.
the entire original run of Law and Order, which was like 20 seasons, is like in a full box set that I could get for like 200 and something bucks.
Yes, but you realize they would do this because it's Doctor Who. It'd be like 400.
Oh yeah, like they
collector's
did.
days.
I do recall we've mentioned before that like Germany got one where it was like all of Tom Baker's run.
Stuff like that,
I
yeah.
think.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't surprise me if after they've released the individual seasons, they do something like that.
They do like entire Doctor box sets, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I was just remembering when they started releasing all of like Star Trek: The Next Generation in one set. You know,
Oh, you know what? I bet you when
Imagine
they
if
release,
the fourth Doctor set was in a canine.
I bet you when if they release entire Doctor seasons or entire Doctor runs, they'll the individual seasons will suddenly go super cheap
possibly.
because people
Probably.
will be
Anyway.
trying to get rid of their old collections. But anyway, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to end our news, we have one piece of Big Finish news.
Yep. Queen Victoria is not amused in the latest monthly release from Torchwood. In it, Her Majesty is stranded with Maharaja Duleep Singh on a mysterious fort in the middle of the ocean, a fort ravaged by storms since it was built. There are ghosts inside, and there's something alien outside. It'll do anything to get its release. Torchwood Fortitude, starring Rowena Cooper, Paul Baisley, and David Stern, is available now as a collector's edition CD at £9.99 or on download at £7.99.
And that is the only thing we've seen from Big Finish for a bit.
They've been quiet.
Yep, they've been quiet because they don't want to try to outshine the new season of Doctor Who.
Mm.
So
Set-
then,
The second the season's done, Big Finish will announce a crap load of stuff.
probably
Mhm.
just fill in the airwaves.
To me, it's always kind of funny and surprising when Candy Jar has nothing, considering for the longest time it'd be like the only
Yeah.
thing we had.
So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they've been in a bit of chaos for a while, so I think they're still getting their ducks in a row, but they've got enough that they released some stuff, but now they're, still pushing to get the rest of it out.
is it time for shame?
No, it is time for Geek Talk.
Oh, Geek Talk first? Okay.
All right. So television streaming comes first. And that would be the latter half of Crisis on Infinite Earths aired last night. And I'm still trying kind of tiptoeing around spoilers in terms of what I can and cannot talk about.
You can talk to me after the
Mhm.
stream because I'm curious on a couple of things.
Okay. So in these two episodes in particular, I was a little concerned with the way episode 4 started, that it was going to really be entirely focused on this group that they refer to as Paragons, which you don't really, it's what that means is revealed throughout episodes 2 and 3. But it kind of made it seem at first like the entire remaining story was just going to be that small group. It's actually only one episode that's on that small group, which I appreciate because that means that the crossover proper can go on. They were able to continue as a proper crossover in episode 5. There were some really big moments. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that they had their version of a Stan Lee cameo in the form of Marv Wolfman. For those who don't know, that's the writer. He actually wrote for this, and he also wrote the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. They did not have a lot of comic other than that, they did not have a lot of like Easter eggs or fan service for the comic. Instead, there was more stuff focused on TV in general, as they've been doing throughout the crossover. And unlike the comic, instead of collapsing everything into one universe where all the shows are in the same continuity, they did, even though there were changes, they did go back and reveal there are certain different universes. They canonized something that is very surprising, I think, to a lot of people in terms of movies that people aren't would not put high on their list of things they'd want canonized.
Oh.
Altogether, I would say it was a pretty successful crossover. Certain things were kind of forced in the sense that this is a CW thing. It has to be, it has to have this small scale conclusion. There is no such thing as a universe-wide battle or anything like that. So that felt a little contrived in the sense of what was happening. But when you understand what a CW show is, it kind of makes sense.
So let me interpret you. They did not wind up collapsing the CW verse into one universe?
So all of the CW shows were put into one universe.
Okay.
Okay, they did do that.
Other DC shows that are happening at the same time are still in separate universes.
Okay.
Specifically, the biggest example people would talk about nowadays, Titans, is still its own universe.
That makes sense.
They did
Yeah,
not look at
technically, they're a
animated at
separate
all, of
thing.
course, because that would have been really difficult. It's not Roger
That would have
Rabbit.
been, yeah, it would have been really weird.
Um,
Other than, of course, getting Kevin Conroy to play Batman.
right. Speaking of putting all the CW shows together, Black Lightning's inclusion was kind of awkward. It really felt like he was there basically to pay respect to his show rather than because they could really figure out what to do with him in the plot. People on Twitter have had suggestions of ways they could have used him better. But it really just kind of feels like he was there because they felt like he should be there and not like they knew what to do with him. But that's probably the single worst comment I can make about the special is that Black Lightning felt like he was there for no reason.
So now when Flash wants to go visit Supergirl, he can just run across the country rather than having to hop realities.
Yes.
Awesome.
And they did do that thing where everybody who was part of the crossover remembers being on separate Earths, but nobody else
does.
It's just like any other time travel thing. Like we're time travel podcasters. We know everybody else it's just like, oh yeah,
everybody
this is the way
part of the
things have always
event
been.
actually remembers everything way it was, and everyone who wasn't part of the event is just like,
Yeah.
what? It's been like this all the time.
Right.
Yeah, National City's always been there. If you say so. So with the alteration now, does that mean that Star City's off the map, or are they still the events of Arrow still happened?
No, yeah, it's all still there. The events with the exception of a certain character who would probably be too big of a spoiler to mention, all of the events of all the shows are pretty much still part of continuity.
Okay. I was just curious on that because I knew that Arrow was ending after this, so.
I was actually a little surprised in that the last two episodes did not feature oh boy, how do I even mention this character without including spoilers? Basically a character from an alternate future who was given the Green Arrow costume is intended to be the star of a new show, so basically the spiritual successor to Arrow. This crossover, other than or should I say the latter half of this crossover that sets up the new universe, did not touch that at all. So it's still not clear how that fits or does not fit into any given.
How does X go to Y? Yep.
Right.
I guess we'll have to find out.
I'm guessing the latter half of the Arrow season will touch on that a little bit more.
Okay, I think we're at about time, if not over it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have been doing the stopwatch. So yeah, all right.
All right, that takes us to
Brings us
movies.
Thomas. Yep.
Thankfully, I only have 2.
All right, begin.
Jumanji: The Next Level. It's funny because I accidentally walked into to a Rise of Skywalker screening first time that's ever happened to me, Didn't realize until Lucasfilm logo came up, and I'm like, whoops, wrong cinema. But yeah, I don't really know what I was expecting to get out of this, outside of like a popcorn flick that was just dumb fun. And I mean, that's about what I got. But in a way, I would actually, at least this is like gut reaction, if I watched both back, because I didn't bother watching Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle back.
The one that this is a
before
sequel
watching
to?
this. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I didn't watch the one this was a sequel to prior, even though I have seen it because I saw it in the cinema.
At least
okay.
you've seen it
Came out.
previously. You're just saying you haven't watched it back to back.
Yeah, like I didn't watch it like leading into this movie coming out.
Why is
I
Jack
didn't
Black there?
didn't
Why is
rewatch
Karen
it
Gillan
anyway.
there?
But I would argue, like off gut reaction, that Next Level is better than Welcome to the Jungle. That's not to say that like it's like one of those things of the sequel being like vastly superior necessarily. But it's not the opposite where it's like, oh, the first one was good and the sequel was shit by comparison or anything. I could very much see why people wouldn't like this movie, but as long as you liked the first one, I would argue, and this movie wouldn't be as good as like this movie wouldn't be as good as it is without the previous movie.
Well, this is a 0 out of 5. No Robin Williams.
Bad
Well, that's
Bill.
the funny
Shame.
thing.
This has actually been a successful franchise.
That's the weird thing that I didn't actually know, by the way. I thought these two were reboots, but apparently it's like at best maybe a soft reboot, because apparently
I've been hearing that at worst a soft sequel. Like they admit that the board game might still exist somewhere, but it's not focused on that anymore.
But I think there are nods.
In the previous one, the board game turns into a video game because it's like the kid is like, what? It's a board game. Who plays those anymore? Kind of a. But yeah, the movie almost made me cry, and I was not expecting that from a Jumanji that, at least like in general. But I would also have to rewatch. And to be fair, if the '90s Jumanji movie made me cry, it'd probably just because Robin Williams is no longer with us. So something related to his character would probably make me cry the same way Hook does. Definitely say, if you enjoyed the previous one, I would say give this a shot. If you didn't, yeah, you could probably skip it. Because it's not more of the same, or at least it doesn't feel like it. But again, it's funny because this is a movie that, once again, I'm like, oh my god, I actually enjoy The Rock's performance. Because I mean,
well, The Rock is actually always good no matter what movie he's in. It's just a matter of whether or not the rest of the movie holds up.
Yeah, I guess like for me, his generic action hero shtick is just like, eh.
No, I like him better.
I get why people like it. Yeah, like because this is like the previous movie, it was The Rock having to act like a teenager who's like neurotic and all that. And this, he's playing the avatar of like Danny DeVito's character, so that's fucking funny. I was just wondering, okay, how much mileage are they actually going to get out of this? And it actually is pretty funny.
So it sounds like you're not expecting to be a huge fan of The Rock's Black Adam if and when that ever comes out.
I just don't get why they chose him at all, but I'm going to I will give that the benefit of the doubt and see how it goes. It's just The Rock, to me, other than his look, doesn't seem like the right choice to me for Black Adam.
You would be surprised.
I always thought he was a chef based on his tagline. I don't know.
The Rock's performance in the Disney Witch Mountain reboot is the only reason I ever watched that movie. By the way, where he plays the cab driver. Yeah, because he's not doing the action hero stick. He's a freaking cabbie.
Yeah. And of
going,
course, like with the
oh, holy
Jumanji
shit,
movies,
aliens. Yeah.
yeah, like with Jumanji movies, he's basically playing a satire of action heroes.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Um,
So he's playing
Uh,
against his type, and he's doing a really good job.
I
yeah.
mean, I even liked him in most of the movies where he is doing some of his action hero shtick.
Mm.
I loved him in Doom. It's the only reason I ever watched that movie too.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
movie was hotly mediocre, but I will say he was at least somewhat enjoyable in that.
Mm. Yeah, like, and it's interesting because hell, there's even like a moment where, through the avatars of The Rock and Kevin Hart, they have Danny Glover's character and Danny DeVito's character having a very serious conversation, and it's like, this actually works. This is so bizarre. But like, and there's something. The funny thing is I'll put it this way without spoiling it. The thing that almost made me cry was one of those things like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like, given the characters involved, how the fuck is this making me cry? Like, want to cry? Like, this is weird. Like, it works so well, at least for me, that
So
beyond the you can like look beyond the ridiculousness of the exact scenario.
I have to ask this, Thomas,
And
because this is a joke flying around online. Is it better than not Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker?
oh god, yes. But to be fair, I hate Rise of Skywalker, so anything was probably going to be better
Yeah,
than
I'm
that.
not very thrilled by it myself.
But I mean, I might soften it over time, but this is like, holy shit, this is a much better
Because
movie.
I actually heard on the internet a lot of people seriously saying, maybe we'll just go see Jumanji. By the way, we're at 7 minutes.
Okay, moving
So
on.
quickly on to Jojo
So yeah,
Rabbit.
definitely recommend. And moving on to Jojo Rabbit, which it's funny because this was apparently supposed to come out on Boxing Day in Australia, but then didn't come out until like into the new year. At least where I live. So that's confusing, but whatever. Like maybe they just advertised the date and then it's like, whoops, it got pushed back, but they didn't tell anyone. This is just such a bizarre movie.
I could tell by the
Like, I
trailer,
mean,
yes.
yeah, like I mean, shit. It's Taika Waititi playing an imaginary friend Hitler for this kid in the Hitler Youth, and it's like, it's like it's at first it's just like so bizarre. And basically the thing is like the movie is set during the like waning months of World War II. So the Nazis are already fucked at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, yeah, we're gonna, like, oh yeah, nothing's wrong, everything's fine, we're totally gonna win. Which is like from some of the like, one of the Nazis in it played by, oh god, I can never remember his name. Sam Rockwell, actually, I think. The guy who's in Iron Man 2 as like one of the villains.
Couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
I think it's Sam Rockwell. Yeah, he plays like the tech dude that hates Tony. In that, and bankrolls the Mickey Rourke's character. Yeah, he's in that playing it sorted like kind of sarcastically, just being like, oh, like they're coming at us from all sides, but yeah, we're fine. Um, and it's just kind of pissed that he's got to look after a bunch of kids instead of fighting on the front lines. And yeah, honestly, that's the thing. The kids are actually pretty good in this. Like, for kid actors, they're pretty good. Oh my god, I can't remember his name, but there's this little fat kid. Hilarious. Like, just a lot of his dialogue is him. It's like, he's been fed all this propaganda about the Jews and all this and that, and then he has like several lines that are like, they seem normal to me, but whatever kind of stuff, and it's kind of funny. Because it's just like, bringing up the hypocrisy of all this shit. But yeah, movie's pretty good. I feel like Scarlett Johansson is probably going to piss some people off by virtue of, oh, so she put a German accent on for this, but wouldn't do a Russian accent for Black Widow.
Depends on how people pay
Because,
attention.
of course, yeah, because she does. I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm not German, so I wouldn't know if it's like the best German accent ever by any stretch. But, which is basically the thing. Pretty much everyone is putting on a German accent. One of the kids kind of drops out of his accent here and there, but he's a child actor. It's fair enough. It's like you can very much tell the kid is a Kiwi. Like, yeah, it's coming through a bit, but he is a kid, so fair.
All right.
Let's see.
Anything else?
And
You're about
researching
4 minutes.
and researching the actors. For
I
this
would
film has blown my
definitely,
mind.
I would definitely say give this a shot.
What is the movie named for? Is there a rabbit?
No, that's the nickname of the main character. That's what they call him in the thing. They tease him with that name because he's ordered to kill a rabbit by the older Hitler Youth members, and instead he tries to release it.
Aha.
Yeah, generally it was kind of funny.
Idea of a Donnie Darko-esque rabbit appearing in the movie.
That'd be a different movie altogether.
Generally, the funny thing I just noticed was how many, like, there's not like a ton, but there's just like a few MCU actors in it, and like a few actors that I recognize from other stuff. There's an actor from Logan in there. There's an actor from Alfie Allen who played Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones is in there as well. And yeah, it's just like they're all having fun with it pretty much. And
Logan
it's
canon of the MCU now.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy, but there is some serious stuff. It was another thing where there's a moment where I almost lost it and cried. Probably a few. Because as much as they're making fun of the Nazis, it's also like, yeah, they're still the Nazis, so they're horrible. So we've got to have some serious shit in here. But yeah, I would definitely say, if you get the chance to see it, definitely check it out.
All right. So, are you set? I think it's now time to go to Bill. Bill, are you ready for shame?
All right. So this is the Stones of Blood, fourth Doctor episode.
From freaking 2016.
Yes.
Shame.
An episode in the Key to Time, and I don't know if I was working on a paper that night or what have you, but yes, I was not there for the podcast. So yes, this is part of the Key to Time. The Doctor and Romano 1 are looking for parts of the key. I actually think my episodes on the rest of this this group of episodes was pretty middling as well, but yeah, I found it to be a very middle of the road.
Excuse me, let me go all the hell back to season 6 so I can look at your voting.
I don't have many fond memories of that group of episodes, I'll say.
You gave the first one a 4.5. This is the second one, which you missed.
The first one, no, this is the third one. The first one I gave a 3.
Oh, yeah, the first one you gave a 3. The second one you gave a 4.5. That was the Douglas Adams. Sorry,
That was the most popular one.
The fourth one you gave a 3.5. Kroll, you gave a 4. It's not the most popular one because you gave a 5 to the Armageddon Factor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Pirate Planet looks like we gave a 4.9 as a group. Armageddon Factor, we gave a 4.8 as a group. So I guess
yes, but I wasn't looking at the group. I was looking at you.
Looking at you. You just said you were middle of the road. You're lying.
So yeah, I mean, well, if the majority of the episodes, yeah, especially Ribos and Androids of Tara are the ones that stand out as being very glad to me.
Sure.
So this I feel like is kind of in like company with those episodes in that I don't hate it, but it's just kind of blah. what I disliked the most about the episode, and unfortunately ended up the story, and unfortunately ended up being the entire last episode, was the trial. Partially because the judges were little sparkle effects. And I don't know, maybe if there were actually actors with expressions, I might have felt a bit differently, but I just felt like it dragged on, and that it would have made sense if it was an episode for like episode 5 of a 6-parter, but as episodes 3.5 through 4 of a 4-parter, it just didn't, it felt out of place and like it was too much. And it ended up having a major part of the resolution, so I can't say they should have cut it, but it just did not. It dragged the episode down for me.
Shame.
What I liked the most was probably Mary Tam and Tom Baker. They just, as ever, pulled out great performances. Oh yeah, and I did like the old lady whose name I was going to look up and forgot, but
Shame.
the old lady, Stones of Blood. The old lady who was not an alien. She was pretty interesting character. Not like a game-changing character, but she kept adding a unique point of view. And it was it was nice to have her along. I don't know if I said it. I don't think I said it yet. My rating for this is a 3 out of 5.
Shame.
What? A what?
3 out of 5.
3.0 out of 5. 3.0 out of 5. Yeah.
Which will drop it by 1/10 of a point. You are still not the person to rate that the lowest. Aaron gave that a 2.5.
Oof.
And
Right,
you
I was
are on
far
par with.
enough back that Aaron was here and Thomas was not.
Yeah. That was same score as Matt gave it. I am the only one that gave it a favorable score of a 4. I thought it was
Nah.
good, but I didn't think it was. I thought it was above mediocre, but I didn't think it was great.
Nah, it's pretty mediocre for me every time I've seen it, sadly.
Aaron thought it was sub-mediocre. Tim gave it a 3.5. So, yeah. Finally filling in the last remaining thing for season 6 of our podcast.
We're on what?
Shame, Bill.
We're on what, 12?
What?
We're on what, 12 now?
I think
13.
13. Shit. Had to go back half of our timeline, Bill.
All 12? No, all 13.
Yes. I
But
can
my
tell
next
you,
missing episode is not until, I think, is it season 11?
it's the Battle of Ranskor Kalos from
Yeah, I'm
last
looking for that.
series.
Oh, last. Yeah, which was season 11
Mhm.
of the podcast. Yep.
So now you're only behind 2 seasons. But the problem is, season 12, you're missing half of.
Yeah,
Shame.
because that's when I was. Well, not when I. Well, yeah, there was a lot of time for finals and a lot of time for being in El Salvador and working overtime.
All right. So that is Bill's review of Shame on something he should have done years ago.
Shame.
Yes, I'm still giving him shame on that. And now we come up to the current episode summary, looking at our schedule. That is supposed to be Tim. But Tim's not here, so it falls to me.
All right.
I was going to say, we can basically move you and me up and then slot Tim in for
That's
Fugitive
what
of the Jadoon instead, yeah.
You know, I would have loved to have done Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, but no, Tim can't be here, so I have to do Orphan
No,
55.
You get some pleasure of summarizing this episode.
Yes,
I was,
Randy.
I was
enjoy.
I was gonna volunteer to do it, but I got like halfway through and was like, "Oh shit, I haven't taken any notes."
I never do it from notes, I do it from memory.
Yeah.
Problem is, I could only stand to see this episode once.
We're already
Oh, the
reviewing. Are
hate's
you
starting
ready?
now already.
Are you ready, Randy?
Yeah, I wonder what you think about the episode.
Ooh.
Got the stopwatch going?
I'm waiting. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
So the Doctor is cleaning the TARDIS from a previous adventure of which we do not know, apparently involving a giant squid of some kind, when Graham brings up the fact that he's been collecting these cards that once you collect them all, you earn a free vacation. Before the Doctor can stop him, he assembles these cards into a box, and that starts a teleporter that teleports them to the Tranquility Spa, where they're met by the receptionist, who looks like she's part woman, part dog, and has her name being hyphen with a 3. Anyway, she says it's all inclusive and they're free to look around. Graham immediately goes and finds a place to sit down and relax. Yaz goes to check out the pool. Ryan goes for a drink, and the Doctor goes to check out the place by herself. Shortly thereafter, Ryan gets infected by, what do they call it? A jumper virus?
Jumper virus, something like that. Yeah, some sort of virus.
From the vending
Hopper
machine.
virus.
Hopper virus. Thank you. Hopper virus. From the vending machine. The Doctor finds him quickly, manages to get the Hopper virus to hop into a empty bag of chips. While this is going on, there's apparently a security alarm that goes off. Ryan's in the middle of having hallucinations coming off the virus. But things go south as something starts attacking guests. What am I? Is everything okay?
You're fine. I'm not sure what someone was whispering.
The Doctor goes and tries to help set the computer back up from the virus. As you hear the sounds of people dying, being killed, and manages to set up, what do they call it? A biofilter? It was basically a force field that kept the aliens.
Basically what it was. Yeah.
A force field that repelled all the aliens from the area. And they find a breach point, basically showing that this is a fakecation. Only those are usually used in large cities and stuff to make it look like a countryside. This is out in the middle of what looks to be a uninhabitable planet. And they mentioned that it's an orphan planet, Orphan 55. One of the guests, a old man with a air tank, has apparently wandered outside the base. So the Doctor convinces them to mount a rescue. This turns out to be a bad idea, because the monsters out there, the dregs, who look like as mentioned in the opening, kind of the bastard child of a Mirelurk and a Deathclaw from the Fallout series, attacks their transport, damages it beyond use, and basically mount an ambush. They manage to hold off the creatures so the majority of them can escape into a old tunnel, and they manage to start to try to retreat back to the base, losing people here and there as they're going. The Doctor notices a sign and realizes that it is a old Russian train station sign, and that this planet, Orphan 55, is actually Earth. Running out of oxygen, the majority of them get back to base, but the Doctor lingers behind, gets oxygen back from one of the creatures, realizing that they breathe CO2 and emit oxygen like plants do. And then mind touches one of them and discovers the fact that they are what basically remains of the human race. Joy. She goes up. They follow up this pathway into the city. The Doctor tries holding them off with oxygen while she desperately tries to get the teleporter to work. The two mechanics having a little tiff, one being the son of the other, walks off in disgust for a bit, and the other one just can't cut it. Eventually they get together, fix the teleport, and start teleporting people out of there. But not before the Doctor has a lecture on this is your future if you don't take care of yourself. Pretty much end of the story. And I know I left some stuff out, but hey, let's deal with it.
4 minutes 53 seconds.
That's why I stopped.
Kidoodle's
All
getting
right.
close.
Did you cover the mother-daughter plot at all?
No,
Nope.
I didn't. I
Skip that.
realized I missed that when I
The
stopped
driving conflict of the episode.
because it
Because
really
that
it was
was
kind of
really important to the plot.
It was
Watch me as I
tacked- no,
roll
it was-
my
it was-
eyes.
It was tacked on, but it was
it was tacked on and not developed well. I mean, I'm seriously I'm going to talk about this in a bit. So
Oh,
let's
we
talk
got
about
some
what
stuff
was
to talk
good
about.
about this episode. Ooh, I forgot to roll. Who goes first? Bill, do you want to
Shame.
cover what Tim's entry while I?
Sure. Let me load that up. Okay, so what Tim liked was everything about Hyphen. Her actor, her makeup, her costume. This was Doctor Who meets Showbiz Pizza, and he loves that. He hopes she makes future appearances. He knows they could find a way if they tried.
She's dead.
Considering she's dead,
So
She's
Tim
dead,
liked
Dave.
the furry.
wouldn't mind seeing others of her species, but
Yeah,
Mm.
maybe.
It
I mean-
is a funny thing. I remember people, like, I think I remember someone's like, "Oh, well, that's a shitty looking cat person." I let it slide because it reminded me of Barf from Spaceballs, but just the cat version of that.
yeah, I had to go back and take a look at the character when I was writing the thing. Do I want to say cat girl or do I want to say Mog? I want to say Mog because she looks more like part man, part dog. Yep. Yeah, it was an interesting character. I think that they having the name Hyphen with a 3 in it was kind of annoying, but other than that, I liked the
Whatever.
character. Yeah. So Thomas, what did you like about the episode?
I liked the stuff between Bella and Ryan.
God damn it.
I feel like that's probably something else I was going to go for, but it slipped my mind, so I just went with the first thing that came to. But yeah, just like the development of that was very nice. And the fact that Yaz is just kind of like, hey, they're like in that one scene when she's like, hey, yeah, what's going on over there? It's more like poking fun at Ryan as opposed to being the Rose thing of like, oh, what are you doing talking to that bitch? Or something like that.
Yeah,
so
well,
it's like-
yeah, the Yaz Ryan relationship is becoming very sibling-esque.
Mm-hmm. Some degree.
Yaz also doesn't seem to want Ryan talking to any
younger
girls
sister.
though. So I'm
Well,
wondering.
to
if
be
it's
She
fair,
seems to
really
do
got
purposely
something,
tease him
or-
whenever he does. Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, the other one this series so far was just I don't want you banging my sister, so which fair enough.
Yeah, because that's going to be super awkward. Yeah.
I still get the impression that they're building towards something and
They
the
probably
final
will, but
episode.
I would I'm
Wait and
fine
see.
with them just being friends, really. It would like I'd be fine with them hooking up, but I'm fine with them being friends as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So Bill, you're next. Thomas stole yours. Do you have another?
Yeah, so I guess I will go with the old couple. They were there pretty much for comic relief, but they weren't like the kind of one note pain in the ass. Ugh, it's these guys again comic relief, but they were just, they were used the right amount. They were a little touching. There was also some dark bits to them as well, and I thought they were used properly.
So, in other words, they weren't Moffat comic relief.
Right.
Okay. Matt, how about you?
I'm gonna say that at least the early horror elements in this particular story worked out really well. When we first introduced the monsters for the episode, they keep them in shadows and low lights.
Mhm.
They added enough to them
Yeah.
so that like their teeth are glistening in the dark as they're running around the hotel.
Mhm.
We get little
Yeah.
tidbits of them, and we only get like one partial close up, but still really dark. Just as the force field kicks in, just in time to
Yeah.
save Ryan. And
Yeah.
The majority of the first act with them was done really well, and actually made them feel menacing.
Yeah, sort of alien-ish, just not
Almost,
as
yeah.
dark.
All right. So I'm actually going to say I liked the budget on this looked pretty well. The costuming for the dregs I actually thought was done pretty well. Not just the dark shots, but when we got to see them in full, they looked kind of like what you'd expect they'd look like.
Yeah,
Regardless
when
of
they
the
were in
fact that,
full in the dark, they were still pretty good.
no, even when they were full in the light, they still looked pretty good.
Oh, they looked pretty fine to me in the light. I'm sorry, but no, I can't agree with that.
Only issue
I had
I
a
had
giggle when
was that
we saw the first one out by the vehicle.
only issue I had is that some of them looked like I couldn't tell whether some of them look CG, and I'm like, is that CG? Is just the suit look a bit weird?
I would assume there was full-on suits. If it is CG, that was also some pretty bad
them where they
CG.
look like
Either
CG.
way, it didn't quite work in the
They've done
light.
in the past where there's a suit with prosthetics and then they touch it up with CG after the fact.
That's a possibility then, yeah.
I didn't think it looked that bad myself, but that was me. But
Well, I'll say that yeah, it could have been worse.
I thought the sets looked good, especially when we saw the exterior of the place. I thought that looked decent. I just thought that they did a good job on the budgeting overall.
Yeah, location shooting was definitely very good.
All right, so what did we dislike about it? Tim's thought was... If I can find Tim's thought. There it is. What he disliked. The anvilicious preaching was bad enough, but what pushed over the top was they missed some easy fixes. Either let the discovery that Orphan 55 was Earth speak for itself, or don't make it Earth at all. I think the audience would have gotten the message in any case. The fact is, I'm going to take a moment here and say the fact is that Doctor Who has done this before.
Hey,
yes.
you're treading on other people's territories.
Well, no, I mean, it's just a comment on what Tim said there on the, oh my God, it's really Earth. That was pretty much the entire plot of The Mysterious Planet back in the Colin Baker era.
And Pirate Planet, I believe.
No, it was never revealed to be Earth.
Pirate Planet? No.
I thought that was Earth. Either that or there was another one.
Yeah.
It's the Mysterious Planet back during the trial of the Time Lord era, where they're on the planet Ravolox.
No, I definitely remember that. You're definitely correct there, but I thought the Pirate Planet did it too.
The Pirate Planet's the one where they're on an alien planet with the guy with a scouter over his eye and keeps shouting Sky Demon.
And it's a hollow planet, and
it's a hollow planet that keeps eating up other planets.
Also,
Earth was not involved in that.
Isn't there specifically a Sontaran story where it's like they land on some far future Earth that's like been absolutely devastated, and they're like, just there to check if it's like inhabitable again yet?
But that was the Fourth Doctor. That was the Sontaran experiment, and that was the fact that Earth had been hit by solar flares. Earth had been hit by solar flares. That's why people had gone into the Nervous Space Beacon into hibernation. Was the solar flares had basically ravaged the planet, and so now they were going down to start reestablishing a colony. Only, hey, Sontarans.
Guess we'll have to do something about that, won't we?
Yeah. To me, it is kind of funny because it's like people are like, well, they're kind of bashing you over the head with it. It's like, since when is Doctor Who not? Doctor Who does have a habit, not necessarily all the time, but
there's having a strong message, and then there it really is just malicing you over the head.
This is the first. Well, I feel like that's going to be something somewhat. Well, that's going to come up later, so I'm not going to go. Yeah, I don't want to go into that just yet because we haven't given everyone a chance to talk about what they dislike. But
is there anybody that doesn't want to talk about this?
About which part?
My thing is, I will say my point is I was fine with it, but that's because, hey, remember what we covered like last year, Invasion of the Dinosaurs? That has a moment exactly like that. And it actually is more the Doctor outright being like, hold on, I've got the script up. If I can find it. Yes, well, of course he was mad, but at least he realized the dangers this planet of yours is in, Brigadier. The danger of it becoming one vast garbage dump inhabited only by rats.
But at least he's
He's
actually talking to the
basically preaching at the
Brigadier.
Doctor.
Yeah.
At least he's actually talking to the Brigadier. This is beyond that. This is
And even
literally
still,
ripping
like-
past the fourth wall and shouting at the
Like-
viewers.
The line you just said was a line that fit in character. That wasn't the
Mhm.
Doctor saying, "Oh well,
Mm.
Brigadier, if you go out and you do certain, it's on you to go out and prevent forest fires and fix this planet and be a better person." He just said a line that made sense. That was to the Brigadier. He did not a speech to the audience.
Yeah, that's laying on thick.
I mean,
and
there
then
is a
what
few
this was
moments
in
in
this
that where
episode was
he's-
literally smacking us in the face with it.
Like,
But
I know
again, my
people have
thing is-
accused past episodes of the 13th Doctor of being that way. This is the first episode where I really felt like they were going outside of the bounds of the story.
I felt there's like maybe 2 episodes, but then again, 2 episodes that did the same message that laid it on a little too thick last year. But this one is egregious.
Yeah. Either way, I can see why people have problem with the execution. The funny problem I have is with people who are like, "Oh, Doctor Who talking about climate change. Oh, I'm never watching Doctor Who again." Like,
That's
where
not
the
even the
fuck
point
have
they were
you been?
making. But
No. I mean, there are people who are like, there are people I know who are like, they agree with the message, but not the delivery. Like, it's like, I like what the concept of what's being said, but not the execution, sort of thing.
well,
Whereas there are people that I've seen who are basically like, "Oh, SJW propaganda," and it's like Doctor Who's always been that, so I don't know where you've been.
Yeah, it's always
whatever.
been from the first Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, my issue is more with the execution.
Yeah, which is fine.
Because they hammer this in, and yet the story that they're using it to hammer it in is so could have used so much more development
yeah.
Right.
in areas. Instead, they use that time to hammer the speech home. So I'm like,
Yeah. I will say that is kind of funny when you think that this is the writer who did It Takes You Away, which did seem to lose a lot of people in its final few minutes with the weird frog thing.
Oh, that didn't bother me at all.
Oh, still,
Yeah.
like, that was like a thing where people were like, you either liked it or you were just like, what the fuck is this? This
yeah,
came out
I
of
was
nowhere.
in the what the fuck is this camp on that.
I was just, oh, well, welcome to this weird dimension. Hi, how are you, frog? Actually, if I may, to voice what I disliked in particular about this episode,
Yes.
some of it is tied into the very forcibly hit-on message, but the other thing that really gets my goat is something that they failed to acknowledge while at the same time forcing that message out, which is the fact that this story is going on about how the plant's been orphaned and has been nuked in order for it to be orphaned. When did this become a part of Earth?
I don't get what you're talking about, Matt.
Throughout the entirety of New Who and even Classic Who, Earth never got nuked.
See, here's the thing,
Someone
though.
fucked with something. And
Yeah, here's the
normally
thing.
in Doctor Who, when someone fucks with something like that, the Doctor gets involved and goes to unfuck it. This
Wibbly wobbly,
this
timey
this
wimey.
show literally
I
in
mean-
this episode went above and beyond to say we can't do anything about it, even though we have a time machine. And even though obviously someone messed with something that shouldn't be messed with, which has undone everything that all the previous Doctors, even in New Who, has said is going to happen.
Well, they always said the Earth becomes uninhabitable.
Yes, when the
And-
when the sun expands.
No, not always.
No.
Remember, Earth goes
Mhm.
through a
Beast
dozen or so
below, the
phases.
arc.
Yeah,
But in particular, it becomes permanently untouchable when the sun
I-
expands, and that's usually when they really give up on Earth. Why is it suddenly orphaned now?
Now, with that said, I will agree with you about the nuke thing not making sense, because specifically, they seem to be making this point about the episode being about this
Climate
being a
change.
climate change parable. This is about what people can do to change the world, not about government squabbling, not about that Superman movie about confiscating all the nukes. This is about changing the climate, which really should not be on individual people. It's a lot more on corporations and governments in actuality anyway. But ignoring that, nuclear weapons are another problem entirely.
Yeah. Besides, we know that a climate change crisis leading to a nuclear war leads to the Mad Max apocalypse, don't we?
Yeah, that still wouldn't completely kill everybody, and still wouldn't make it an orphan planet.
Either way, in any case, the one thing that was pointed out in a video I watched was someone was fine with it because there's no date given in this episode.
That's
We're never given when does this actually happen. This could be after anything we've ever seen, before whatever. Like we don't.
Just like
They're smart enough to not date themselves.
Except that there should be a date, because when does this happen? Because people are supposed to come back eventually, and it's supposed to become Earth again eventually, if that is the case.
Well, yeah, that's the funny thing. Like the whole thing is it's to terraform Earth again.
There's a lot of big questions that this,
I would
this
assume
episode
it
does
happens
not
before the Suntaran
bring back
experiment.
up and should be covering.
It's after the events of the Beast Below and before the events of the Suntaran experiment.
The fact is, we don't know. We don't know where this takes place, the timeline, or whether the timeline's been altered or changed, or whether shit's been happening not really because of this, but because someone else is behind it, i.e. the Master.
That was my theory too originally, until they're just like, oh, we're not going to do anything about it. I'm like, what? How can we not do anything about it?
Because until she knows there's interference, it's basically a fixed point. Once you know something has happened in history, you're not supposed to fucking change it. Case in point,
Except as far as we're
Waters of
aware that
Mars.
this isn't supposed to happen, so I'm still debating this.
And she also stresses that it's only one possible timeline. Which that line bothered me a little, because they've never played Doctor Who as being going through multiple timelines.
Also another thing that rubbed me the wrong way is that they're acting like they're in a different timeline. That doesn't make sense, because you'd still be in the active timeline.
Yeah, Pyramids of Mars does have that thing where he takes it forward and it's like, well,
yeah, if you ignore it, then this will happen.
This is what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they only ever are in the active timeline. You can maybe occasionally be back in the Doctor's personal timeline and saw peaks of a different future, but that's not where they're supposed to be at now. So when did this happen all of a sudden? Someone messed with something to change the future.
But again, like the idea isn't necessarily, oh, this happened in like modern Earth, like current day Earth. It could have happened like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years from now.
We've definitely gone off on every different topic and not followed through on the line of who was next.
Well, I give mine.
Again, this was the elephant in the Tim hit the elephant in the room, like off the bat.
And a lot of other people had issues.
Yeah.
So I stayed mine. Tim stayed his. I think, Randy, you technically stayed yours?
No, I have
Okay,
I have
you
separate
still have
ones.
I haven't said mine either yet.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we're going back to Bill.
So, okay, so mine was heavily related to a lot of what we talked about, but it was specifically that this is so many rehashed stories in one. This was, as we mentioned, the plot of The Mysterious Planet, and it's also the plot of Utopia. And both of their big twists about this is us in the future put together into one episode, and it just felt like retreading so much old ground. And I'm like, why is it always it's us in the future. Like, you can use allegory or metaphor or symbolism or anything other than literalism to get a point across. Like, it doesn't have to always be this is the actual Earth in the future. You can actually be this is a planet similar to Earth that made a bad decision.
Yeah, but Chibnall apparently doesn't do allegory. He just hits you with the literal hammer.
Yeah, Chibnall doesn't
I
know
mean-
about literally allegory hammers. He just knows how to use the real one and just smack you across the forehead, and it's getting really old.
It might just be me, but I also got like vague, like very vague colony in space vibes to a point.
I
Like,
think that was just
certain
you.
elements of it.
No.
Um,
So
it might have just been like the atmosphere of it. I don't
that
know.
was Bill. Matt, did you have a separate issue?
I brought up most of mine.
Okay.
Hmm.
So my question to you is, how does somebody going from, oh, my mom's not around, to I'm going to kill and burn down everything? I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
there's no X to Y in this.
I mean, it is specifically her mom's company, but she definitely is just like, fuck literally every innocent person in my way.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to kill this and I'm going to kill everybody there. Because,
Went from-
I'm
went
not a
from-
sociopath. I just didn't have mommy's love.
Went from a really interesting character in the first half to a completely dumb one in the last half.
Yeah, once they did the face heel turn on her, there's no real reason for it other than mommy didn't love me. And that's, how do you get from being what was she, an unemployed caretaker
Mm-hmm.
for her father, to
Yeah.
being able to construct bombs?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Ace.
I
I mean,
mean,
constructing bombs isn't that hard to learn. It's not blowing yourself up in the process that's tricky.
mhm.
Mm. I mean, and the bomb does seem to go off before she actually wanted it to. So
Mm-hmm. So it still didn't go perfectly as planned.
But
Mm.
I mean, the lack of character development and reasoning. The character of Kane herself is supposed to be the person that built all this, yet really all we kind of see her is the soldier.
Mm-hmm.
She comes
Mhm.
off as a security chief rather than the exec that
CEO.
owns. Yeah.
Mm.
And Bella's character needed to have a couple of bit of exposition further on why she went from A to B.
Mm.
Did she
guess
write her mother and ask her to help her father who was dying of disease and basically got an up yours? I mean, we don't get to see where she goes from A to B.
Mm.
Kind of related to that, it's kind of weird that Kane was like, "Oh, I was building all of this for her," and I'm just like, a postcard would have made more difference.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Even the doctor called that one out.
It's
Mm.
and that's the thing is, if they hadn't gone on this whole preachy tangent, they could have developed these characters better.
Mm-hmm.
They
Or
would've
even
had
hell,
time.
just actually, or even just added like another 10 minutes to the episode since this wasn't a full hour.
Yeah, to flesh it out and let these people and give these people better reasons for being who they are. Instead, what we get are these bare bones templates. And this is an issue I've had with a lot of the Chibnall stories.
Yeah.
The Chibnall era stories is they don't develop the characters. Instead, the characters solely exist to drive the plot.
And they end up empty and hollow and completely disposable.
Yeah.
I think we were supposed to feel something for her by the end, and I don't.
I didn't feel for either of them. I thought Kane was a moron and Bella was a bitch.
And they're about to just die together to a bunch of monsters.
And I couldn't see why Ryan was still attracted to Bella after she turned into basically Little Miss Murder.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the old couple better than I liked those two.
Yeah.
The old couple got developed well.
Oh, hey, the old couple. A better romance than
Mhm.
Twilight. Headshot.
Better romance than Raylo.
I mean, most things are.
I look forward to your comments.
We could have gotten some. We could have gotten some more Yaz development in here, and
right? There's some real development.
Yeah.
we keep hitting that Yaz problem too. She's like the most
Yeah.
underdeveloped character out of all of them. Although
Yeah.
the Doctor has issues
like
too.
she had something in Spyfall Part 1, and then it's just kind of like, oh.
And then then they just dropped the ball, and the
I mean,
Doctor's
to be
being too
fair, in
preachy again.
Spyfall,
And
to be fair, in Spyfall Part 2, like all the companions get sidelined, so it's not just her. But this one, it's like again.
actually, yeah, I will say
kinda
the
like-
Doctor actually got something to do in Spyfall Part 2, and she kind of developed a little bit there.
I didn't really. I'm just realizing I don't think I said anything, so I'll just go with like
Mhm.
I thought the old woman was kind of annoying. It was like just like the whole
Oh.
shouting Benny. It just made me think of the Heavy Rain Jason thing, and it's just like fucking hell.
Actually, made me think Benny and the Jets. Benny.
it was just but they still were developed better than those two.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
just
think it's just like the acting from her with some stuff was a bit
Well,
off.
I think it was that she wasn't really given anything to do, and then they're just like, yeah, you're gonna become a monster victim now. Okay, bye-bye.
okay. So I think we've covered what we disliked now.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
got it out of our systems.
Some of it.
All right.
Until we get to least favorite scenes.
favorite scene. Tim's is the scene where Nevi admits that Silas was the real brains was very heartwarming at the end there, where he's like, I can't do this. I need him. Yeah.
One of the few good things to come out of the final act, yes. I'll agree to that.
All right. Thomas.
God, I had one. Honestly, just because it was kind of funny. The moment of it's like I have two questions. First, will you marry me? Oh yes. And second, can someone shoot me, please? It's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, that went a little sideways, didn't it?
Yeah, that was like, and I was kind of expecting that in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I was not expecting how she approached the I killed him. I was kind of expecting the I killed him, but trust me, what was left wouldn't have lived very long anyway, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, that was awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bill, how about you? Favorite scene?
Favorite scene, and I'm not sure if this is technically one scene or a few scenes that were kind of very closely related, but the monsters stalking the corridors in the beginning. Matt mentioned this a little bit where he was talking about the horror aspects of it and the way they kept they didn't show the whole monster and everything, or
Low lights, a
forget
few
what they're actually
close-ups,
called.
some nasty, gnarly
Yeah.
teeth, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a perfect horror movie moment, and was really done very well.
All right. Matt.
Favorite scene. Trying to think. Which one do I want to go with? I'm actually gonna go with the Doctor helping get the virus out of Ryan.
That was a funny scene.
That was actually a genuinely good scene.
Ryan hallucinations.
That was almost David Tennant-esque.
It was Russell T-esque.
Yeah. And now you suck on your thumb and don't go too panicky about all the illusions you're going to see. They're not real bets.
You could maybe make an argument it's a bit Hitchhiker's Guide, but
so was a lot. So very much of the Russell T era was influenced by.
I'm gonna say that's actually technically that's something that kind of periodically pops up in Doctor Who, no matter what, even before Hitchhiker's Guide was a big thing. Every
Here
once
I
in a
am.
while,
I've just
every
saved
once
the
in a
world
while,
at my
like,
Jim Jams. Very Arthur Dent. Yeah.
oh, and the first episode this season, I made tea. I think looks down at it. I'm just like, what did you make it in the machine? And does the machine have issues making tea?
He made a Brownian motion generator.
All right. So my favorite scene was a one-liner from the Doctor. When she's trying to rebuild things, and it's like, you can't just rebuild a ionic membrane from scratch. Give me crayons and half a can of Spam, and I could build you. I just love the delivery on that line. I'm just like, yes, okay. I'm
a
the
backup if
Doctor.
I, yeah,
Yeah.
a backup if I gone later probably would have actually been the bit at the start where it's like, yeah, sorry about all that. I didn't know it was this tentacle monster's mating season or whatever the fuck.
Ah, yes, the alien
Ugh.
splooge on the TARDIS floor.
Oh, you don't want to think about that. Don't want to think about where that tentacle's been. Nasty tentacle, don't go there. Right. All right. So are we done with
Well,
favorite
shoot,
scenes now?
who was it who last week was like, I've seen enough anime to know where this scene is going?
Me. I was holding back again. Because I knew I did the joke already
Yeah.
recently.
So have we all done favorite scenes now?
I
I think so, yeah.
All right. Least favorite scene. And Tim is first. Tim's
Yep.
is the scene where Yaz interrupts Benny's attempted proposal. He wants Yaz to get more time in development, but scenes like that don't endear her to him. I'm not that bad on that scene.
Yeah, she
She
just
didn't
didn't
know any
understand what
better.
was going on. She even
Yeah.
was like, oh, am I bothering
Yeah.
something? I can go.
Yeah, it was just
Mm.
it was just one of those moments to delay that, and so that he could propose before
Yeah.
he died. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's more the issue I'd have with that scene is just like, oh no, and he was like just a day away from retirement. kind of a setup of, yep, he's dead.
Yep. All right. Thomas, your least favorite scene.
God, there was like a specific one that I had in mind because of the wording of when they're trying to save the kid because one of the dregs is like in there and the kid's hiding or whatever, and the doctor specifically calls it out and calls it like the alpha and all this other shit, just all the shit she's rattling off. I'm just like, wow, that they really that I feel like that line probably could have been redone just because it's like she's just spewing all this stuff out, and I'm just like, that dialogue needed work. It's like the alpha male Lord of the Dregs, all this whatever the hell she's saying, but it's just like, what the fuck?
All right. Bill?
My least favorite scene. And this is what all of you at home can do to save the planet.
Her basically her rant.
Her
Yeah.
fourth wall rant. Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, bite me.
I'm pretty sure I facepalmed as soon as it started. I was like, oh.
So wait,
this
which
is...
one? The one directed at the drag or the other one?
No, the
No,
one
at
at the very
At
end.
the very end of the episode on the TARDIS.
Yeah, that basically just
They're all
pinned
just
this
like, oh
episode
no,
as terrible to me.
bad things happen at some undisclosed point in the future. Yes, but here's what you can do to change it. Only you
Mail
can
your
prevent forest
congressman.
fires,
Yeah.
right?
It's like,
The
oh,
power is yours.
grow up.
Oh my God! It was a Captain Planet speech.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was like the worst end of an episode for Captain Planet ever.
Protect
All
the
right,
Earth, or
Matt.
I'll fucking kill you.
Actually, I'd prefer that one better. That's almost a Dennis Leary. That's almost a how Dennis Leary saved the planet. Save the world, or I'll fucking kill you.
Now that's
All right.
amusing.
Matt.
I have to say the first punch to the gut that made me realize where this episode was about to go is when they're in the tunnel and they find that writing on the wall. I'm like, oh, is this gonna be something cool? Is this gonna be interesting? No, it's Earth. Oh, for hell's sake,
the
the one
writing
thing I
was
wanted
literally
not
on
to
the
be,
wall.
please.
The thing is, that's how they
It's
figured
literally
out.
the writing on the wall. It's just like, oh no.
That's pretty much how they fucking figured it out in the Mysterious Planet too.
Yeah.
They
Also,
realized what they were in was, I think, a London subway station.
Also, apparently, from what from a video I watched, someone actually said that's also how they figure shit out in Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
apparently, it's a pull from that.
Yeah. It's not even an original idea. They've been using that idea since the 60s.
I will admit, when they did find that out, it's like, that looks like Russian. I'm just like, you maniacs! You just blew it up!
I'm like, oh, please, no. Please tell me it was a space station or something. I don't need this to be Earth. This is dumb. Oh, it's Earth.
Yeah. In the Mysterious Planet, they enter a tunnel and find remains that appear to be that of the Marble Arch Tube Station in the London Underground Central line. So yeah, the only difference is that it was Russian and not frickin' Britain again.
Makes me want to smack a writer.
When you write something, make sure it's not been fully done before.
Get an original idea, you hacks.
I mean, like the Hinchcliffe era, if I'm remembering the right era, was renowned for taking stories that had been done elsewhere and then adding a unique Doctor Who twist to it. But you still, if you're doing that, you focus on it as the story and you don't try, like, you build if you're going to send the message, you build it into the story. You don't build it into fourth wall breaks.
Yeah, you don't build into fourth wall breaks, and you don't build it into just hammering the audience.
And this is like Doctor Who.
You get the point home, but you don't need to be over the top with it.
Yeah.
They get the
like,
point. The audience
retreading
isn't dumb.
old Doctor Who ideas isn't necessarily anything new either. Like, old Who has, like, what, 3 versions of Atlantis? And now
2 or 3.
we have, like, 2 versions of aliens that inspired Satan. Like,
oh, we're up to 2 now, altogether, with Classic and New Who, yeah.
Actually, 3. The Daemons, the Nyman, and
right.
the Beast,
who
might actually be Satan. We don't know.
Maybe. Kinda. It's weird.
All right,
we also have space vampires, but anyways.
Yeah.
All right, my least favorite scene. I had one. I think I lost it. Oh God, what was it? I think actually at the very beginning, where they assemble that cube and it beams them off the TARDIS. Do you guys remember when it took super powerful teleporters nearly burning themselves out to capture people from the TARDIS?
But this was from within the TARDIS.
Well, it was technically something activated from within the TARDIS to go out. Although it was awfully easier than to teleport them back in again.
But you say that, and my first thought goes to the delivery transmat from the season before last. Smile. Was it Smile?
Yeah, from Smile.
Yeah. The Fez.
Yeah, you'd think that that'd be something that you'd have to like lower the shields for instead of it just beaming right in. And
even on Star Trek, you had to lower the shields.
Yeah, but here apparently people are just able to beam stuff right out of the TARDIS these days.
Yeah, the last couple seasons seem to have forgotten that things can't get in that easy.
And this is right after those things from the other thing they just stressed how shocked the Doctor was that those things could walk into the TARDIS. I'm like, you've got stuff beaming into the TARDIS to give you mail.
Methinks someone lowered the shields and forgot to bring them back up to full power.
She's gonna crash into herself again.
She is.
Crashes into Capaldi. It's like, what are you doing? Yeah.
What have I told you about raising the shields?
I think that'd be a great, just like us, like a in between season episode would just be that, just like, you lowered the shields again, didn't you? Forgot to turn them on.
Time Crash 2, Electric Boogaloo.
The Time Crash 2, the crashing.
Yeah, just something like that, just so that they can remind them. Oh yeah, they're shields.
See, now that you say that, I feel like I want to hear Jodie Whittaker say, "Your eyebrows are very cross."
Naturally.
All right. So let's go to final
Patting your
thoughts.
eyebrows.
Jim's
Yep.
is this had some pretty cool characters and costumes. They're on the right track with Yaz, but they need to switch cars. And they need to remember to make the story more important than the message. Yeah, that's a big deal. So Thomas, final thoughts.
My basic thing is that while I will defend certain aspects of this episode, it is still fairly forgettable. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, well, this is actually like fucking amazing or this and that. And like, I even referenced Invasion of the Dinosaurs before, in that it kind of has a similar like moral message, whatever.
Kind of.
But I would argue that is done a lot better. Though to be fair, that had like 2 hours to go with. But still, like, yeah, like this is a step down from Spyfall. But you know, like I don't think it's entirely crap necessarily, but I'm not going to argue with people who would say this is a forgettable episode.
All right. Bill?
Okay, so at one point I thought this episode was going to go the colonialism route and look into ways, and more subtle than they actually did, into the ways that resorts in the real world are usually parasitic and exploit the population that actually lives on, for example, the Bahamas or Costa Rica or wherever they happen to be. And I thought that that's what they were going to be doing with the aliens. I really wish they
That would
did.
have been that would have been a better episode.
And I think that's a little bit what they did in Colony of Space. That might have been where you got the connection there, because they kind of did a little bit of that there. I really wish they did, because it would have been a lot more subtle and a lot more. It would have been newer, not necessarily completely new, but it would have been newer ground. And I think it would have worked in better with a lot of what they were doing than the whole what they ended up going with. Ultimately, and part of that, and I mean, it wasn't just, they didn't do what I like, so I hate the ending. That's not it at all. But at the same time, the third act just showed all of the weaknesses in the story, everything that they hadn't really fully fleshed out. It kind of feels like they were writing the story and then almost like switched writers, or just like had to finish it up, because a lot of we already kind of picked out a few areas where the reveals in the third act didn't really fit with what happened before that. So I don't know if this is a weakness of the writer's room, and different people were writing different parts of the plot, and just Ed Heim ended up getting saddled with the credit, or if it was really just one person's shitty idea or what. So we're probably never going to see that. But
again, it's one of those things of like, most of the writers working on the Chibnall era have not been writers with sci-fi experience, so it could be just that showing.
Right. And this is a story that needed sci-fi experience to be unique. So there were definitely good parts to it. We talked about parts of the directing, the acting, and things of that nature. But the screenplay really falls apart, and that's about the last thing I have to say.
All right. Matt?
I will say that the first half, or a little bit less thereof, was a nice setup. It had some interesting ideas going into it, and could have gone a variety of different ways. But the last half of it, for sure, just immediately unravels and falls on its face. There's just so much going wrong. There's even legitimately scenes of people that can't even talk like normal humans anymore all of a sudden. And it just de-evolves into this horrific mess that then tries to shout at you for just being a viewer. Just awful. And
Anything else to say?
that's all I really have to say. It's just ugh.
Okay. So I have to agree with Bill and to an extent Matt. The first um the first two acts I feel go on pretty well. You get a feeling it was feeling like a decent Doctor Who episode. It was feeling a little Russell T. I was liking the action. I was liking the bit. And then you get into characters dying and losing. And I'm like, okay, this is actually good. Good. And then they do the Earth reveal. And then Chibnall gets up on his soapbox and starts preaching. And immediately the episode just starts falling apart because it becomes about the message, not about the story. And that's the problem. When you have a message like this, you need a good story to drive it. And instead we get the story and we get the message and all the story driving it just stops. And we get characters that needed to be developed that weren't. And characters that were only really existing to drive the plot just became blah. And it just started to become well, as we said, it became basically a ending for Captain. It became a Captain Planet episode rather than a Doctor Who episode.
And a bad one too.
And yeah, if they had gone allegorical instead of literalism, if they were talking about these events, if they happened on Planet X as opposed to Earth, it would have been a lot subtle and it would have been better written. But instead, it has to be all about Earth, and that's when it really starts to feel preachy.
Mm-hmm.
Is when it's saying, yeah, this is your doing, this is your fault, only you can fix it. And you're just like, you stop enjoying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Doctor Who is it's entertainment. You're supposed to enjoy yourself. And once that stops, your show loses quality. And this did. Let's go to ratings. Tim gave this a 3.5 and suspects that he's going to be the high scorer this week. Oops.
Possibly.
All right.
Thomas next.
Yes, Thomas is next.
Again, as I said, while I will defend certain aspects of this still was a fairly average-ish episode, but I like the acting enough that I will agree with Tim and give it a 3.5.
All right. Bill?
So in our discussion, I was tempted to lower from the original score I was going to give, but we also reflected on some positives, particularly in the directing and things of that nature. So I'm going to stick with my originally planned score, which is a 3.0.
3.0. All right. Matt?
2.
Oof.
Yeah, I despise this. I'm really annoyed at this episode. I was half tempted to give it a 3.5. I'm like, nah, that's a little too harsh yet. If they do this again, it might get a lower score. But right now, I'm going to hold back.
All right. Now I have to think. I liked the first two acts, hated the final act. Directing seemed to be okay. Acting seemed to be okay, except for a couple of bits. Special effects, I think I'm just going to give this a 3 flat, which averages it to a 3 flat. That will put this. I actually did think about it. I didn't do that just to keep things going. That's just I had to kind of figure out where it balanced because I was originally thinking a 3.5, but I lowered it based on certain things. A 3 flat.
I just realized we went from Turn Left was a 5, Spyfall is a 4, and this is a 3.
Ooh,
Yeah.
this season's not going well. If this season keeps going the way it's gonna hit a 2 next episode. That ain't good.
So this will clock in at 280 out of 326 things reviewed. It is in our lower half. It is on par with The Underwater Menace, which, remember, was missing stuff. Revelation of the Daleks, considered to be one of the worst Dalek episodes. The Lazarus Experiment. Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. The Smugglers. Deep Breath. The Beast Below, which oddly we just brought up. The End of Time, and The Wheel in Space. It is better than Aliens of London, World War III. That is a very low bar.
Ooh.
Horns of Nyman, Vampires in Venice, Time of the Doctor, and is worse than The Sea Devils, Planet of Fire, Survival, The Invasion of the Dinosaurs, which also got brought up tonight, Asylum of the Daleks. Oh, wow.
Oof.
Cold War, Rings of Cotton, and yeah, there we go.
I remember the spite when the Sound of the Dogs came out. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. You remember hatred spewed at it by me.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. 280 out of 326. That is all we have to say about Orphan 55.
Bill.
All right, so please comment below, not about Raylo, but about what you thought about Orphan 55.
Go ahead and comment anyways.
We're gonna have to disable comments. Well,
No,
actually,
you don't.
yeah,
No, you don't.
maybe we'd get enough views to actually monetize. But yeah, please let us know what you think about Orphan 55. Do you agree with the 2? Do you agree with the 3.5? Or do you think we're all crazy? And this is actually, as good as Time Lash, for instance. Please like the episode if you do, or dislike. I think it's technically the same thing because YouTube is crazy. And of course, subscribe on YouTube or follow on Twitch to keep getting our new reviews every week.
All right. So next week, we'll continue our coverage of season 12, and we go back to the turn of the 20th century with Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, written by Nina Mativier and starring Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, Bradley Walsh as Graham O'Brien, Tosin Cole as Rand Sinclair, and maybe see Mandeep Gill as Yasmin Khan get some character development. God damn it.
How about anyone but Ryan and Graham Vine gets development?
Unless it's helping Yaz get some.
I said anyone but those two get development. Yes. They got enough. Anyway, see y'all later.